Greetings, and my name is Maureen Sheerah, and Karibu Sana. We are doing 31 Women of the Bible in 31 days. And today we're going to look at a woman called Sheerah in the Bible. Sheerah in the Bible. Sheerah is a woman who's not mentioned much, but when you do a lot of research, you get to learn a lot about her. And she's found in the book of First Chronicles, chapter 7, and verses 24. First Chronicles chapter 7 and verses 24. Now, what happened to Sheerah? Sheerah built three cities. Sheerah is mentioned in the Bible to have built three cities, and the Bible records and says she built the lower upper Beth Horon, the up Uzen, the lower and the upper Beth Horon, and then the third one was the Uzen Sheerah, which she named after herself for generations. And so today's talk is going to be very, very short and brief because I was doing a study and I realized that the city of Miami was actually built and founded by a woman. So this woman, she's called Julia. So Julia actually was married, and then the husband died and left her in a very bad financial debt. And when he left her with a very bad financial debt, Julia actually converted the house that they had, that the husband left her to a hostel for girls. And so what happened, she began charging girls for living in her house, and then they would go and do their own things, go to whatever they want to do. And this was in Florida. And so this is how Julia got into real estate. Now, her father was very, very wealthy in Florida, and that's how the father, when he died, he left her a vast estate that Julia sold, and then she got money, and that's how she bought the land of Miami. Now, Miami was a wilderness, so by the time now she was getting a hold of Miami, she actually turned Miami into a city, and that's what we have today, Miami City. And that has always been her dream all along. That was always her dream. In fact, for Julia, I wish I can look for that statement that she actually made. Julia is said that at some point, let me just get it for you right now in my notes, and I share with you, because we've got to learn something about this thing of building. We've got to learn something about what God has in store for us. We've got to learn something about the dream, that the vision that God has placed for us. And so Julia tells her friend, it is written that Julia told her friend, it may mean strange to you, but it is the dream of my life to see this wilderness, because the place was a wilderness, to see this wilderness turned into a prosperous country, where this tangled mass of vine, brush, trees, and rocks now are to see homes with modern improvements surrounded by beautiful grassy lawns, flowers, shrubs, and shade trees. What is Miami today? It's the same. Beautiful holiday destinations. Sheerah is the same. This land was a wilderness, and Sheerah got land and converted the land from a wilderness, a place nobody would have thought. She converted this land to be a trade center. And not only that, but she built a city, named it after herself for generations. Sheerah is known as a woman who built three cities. I want to ask you a question. What are you known for? What have you built? And yet there's so many things, there's so many excuses we can come up with. Oh, I never went to school. Yeah, many people also never went to school. I did not get my degree. Many people don't have their degrees, by the way. I did not get my PhD. Oh, yeah, even us, we don't have PhDs. But I want to ask you a question. What can you be known for? It is good to be known for prayer. It is good to be known for evangelism. It is good. But what is the one thing that people can look at and say that was built by Maureen? What legacy are you leaving behind for those who come behind you in building? What company have you built that people will look at and say, wow, that is amazing? What city have you built? What foundation do you have? What legacy are you building? Sheerah is known to be a woman of building. When I was reading the story about Julia, about Miami, I was amazed. It reminded me of one woman in Nigeria, Florencio Lakija, and the fact that She started from nothing, and today she controls a vast empire, a land where nobody would have wanted. And that's the land that she's hearing the Lord saying, buy that portion of land. And that's where oil came from. Has the Lord given you an instruction, and perhaps you've listened to people so much that you have stopped building? Has the Lord given you an instruction? Perhaps you've listened to gossip so much that you have forgotten about what you're supposed to be doing. And at the end of the day, the building became stagnant and you lost it. At times I drive, I walk around and I see a building that started, and you can tell this building started 10 years ago. And then it stopped. No more building. What is this thing that is making you stop building? And I've come to realize, at times we look at money so much, but money answereth. But let me tell you, there is still a way that you can build before you start building before the money comes. What are you building for generations that are coming behind you? May the Lord help us in this season, that as we come to a close of the year 2024, that there's something we are going to look at and say, this is my building. This is what people will be looking at and saying, wow, she built all to the glory of God. This is something you'll be looking at and patting yourself at the back of your shoulder and saying, well done, Maureen, you have done it. The well done to yourself is not an act of pride. When the Bible says David encouraged himself in the Lord, that well done on your part is encouraging yourself in the Lord. So you've got to learn how to encourage yourself in the building. You've got to learn how to be proud at yourself for what you have done, because it's all for God's glory. 31 women of the Bible in 31 days. God bless you. See you tomorrow.